Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Nonita S. Reader from the Department of Oral and Maxillofacial Pathology, associated with Sri Rajiv Gandhi College of Dental Sciences and Hospital, Bangalore. Today, in practical session, I'll be discussing about the histopathology slides for the third BDS. So today's topic is benign and malignant tumors of oral cavity. Starting with the benign epithelial tumors, first we should know what are the contents I'm going to teach today. So that is squamous papilloma, melanotic nevus. It's again classified into junctional nevus, compound nevus, intradermal or intramucosal nevus. These are the histological classification. Followed by epithelial dysplasia, also known as leukoplakia clinically. It's once again classified into mild dysplasia, moderate dysplasia and severe dysplasia. The last one is carcinoma in situ. Now starting with squamous papilloma, you can see multiple finger-like projections which are lined by a keratinized stratified squamous epithelium, and below that you can see a thin underlying connective tissue core. To the right side corner you can see a clinical pic of squamous papilloma. To the left is a H&E section, in which once again you can see the similar whichever I showed brief in a previous slide, the papillary projection which shows a mature stratified squamous epithelium with a parakeratin layer. Sometimes you can also see the superficial layers of epithelium, the coilocytes, nothing but the HPV altered cells with perinuclear spaces and pycnotic nuclei. So next, melanotic nevus. The three types are junctional nevus, compound nevus, intradermal or intramucosal nevus. Starting with junctional nevus, as the name suggests, it is seen at the junction of the epithelium. You can see a stratified squamous epithelium above with the proliferating nevus cells which form a thecks, and also it contains some melanin pigment. Below is the connective tissue. So to the right is a clinical pic of a melanotic nevus, a junctional type, and below is once again a junctional nevus which you can see in a H&E section. The brown color is the melanin pigment, and the cells which you are seeing in the junction of the epithelium is a proliferating nevus cells which form a theque-like cells. Next is the compound nevus, in which here you can see the proliferating nevus cells in both epithelium as well as the connective tissue, which gives you a dropping effect of the nevus cells seen from the epithelium. The brown color pigmentation is seen, which is melanin pigment. So above right side corner is a clinical pic, and below is a histopathological pic in which you can see a melanin pigmented proliferating nevus cells both in the epithelium as well as in the connective tissue. The other type is an intradermal nevus or intramucosal nevus. Here you will be not seeing any nevus cells in the epithelium. It is restricted only in the dermal or the intradermal or the intramucosal side, that is in a connective tissue. So you can see a zone of normal connective tissue separating the epithelium as well as a connective tissue, wherein which you can see numerous proliferating nevus cells, and the brown pigmentation is a melanin pigment. To the right side corner is a clinical pic of a nevus, and below you can see in a histopathological section to the left side corner the melanin pigment is brown in color, and restricted cells, that is a nevus proliferating nevus cells, are restricted to the intradermal or the intramucosal area. Next is the epithelial dysplasia. This is a histological term. Clinically it is called as leukoplakia, wherein which you can see in a clinical pic a white plaque-like area. This is classified histologically into three types: mild, moderate and severe. Coming to mild dysplasia, here you can see both the architectural changes and the cellular changes in the epithelium. Starting with the architectural changes, you can see a broad shaped or a drop shaped ridges which are due to basal cell hyperplasia. There will be acanthosis, that is increased spinous layer, followed by a superficial layer. You can see hyperkeratosis, that is a superficial epithelial layer shows a hyperkeratosis. The cellular changes will be change in the size and shape of the cells. You can also appreciate hypochromatism and the mitosis. So below is the underlying connective tissue. The three classification or the three types which I told you is mild, moderate and severe. If you see the dysplastic features limited up to the 1/3 of the epithelium, lower 1/3 of the epithelium, you call it as a or categorized as a mild dysplasia. If it is more than 2/3 of the epithelium, you call it as a moderate dysplasia, and the dysplastic features, if it is seen more than 2/3 of the epithelium, you categorize under severe dysplasia. And if it is more than 2/3, more than 3/4 or overall epithelium, if it includes, you call it as a carcinoma in situ. So to the right side you can see a clinical pic. Next, these are the types which you can see histology: mild, moderate and severe dysplasia, as I explained prior. Next is carcinoma in situ, in which you can see the highly dysplastic epithelium contains dysplastic cells from the basal layer to the superficial layer without any breach in the basement membrane or break or incontinuity in the basement membrane. You can see a loss of intercellular adhesion, hyperchromatism and abnormal mitotic figures. Below is the connective tissue, and also you can see a loss of stratification in the epithelium. This is a histological pic. This finishes with the benign epithelial tumors. Now I will be talking about a malignant epithelial tumors. So the contents are, which I will be discussing, are squamous cell carcinoma. There are three types: well differentiated, moderately differentiated and poorly differentiated. Others: verrucous carcinoma, basal cell carcinoma and malignant melanoma. Squamous cell carcinoma, three types I already told you: well differentiated, moderately and poorly differentiated. To the right corner you can see a clinical pic of a squamous cell carcinoma. Histopathological pic, you can see whatever I explained before the epithelial dysplasia. The dysplastic features is seen, which is highly dysplastic here the epithelium is, and there will be a break in the basement membrane, that is discontinuity of the basement membrane leading to invasion of the epithelial cells into the connective tissue. So you can see the dysplastic cells over there and the multiple keratin formation in the connective tissue. Also here you can appreciate a dense lymphocytic infiltration in the connective tissue. So we have to know what are keratin pearls, which are more seen in well differentiated type. They are a keratinized structure found in regions where abnormal squamous cells form a concentric layer. So next is a moderately differentiated type. Here once again you can see a highly dysplastic epithelium, and the dysplastic epithelial cells are invading a connective tissue. Compared to the well differentiated type, here you can see few keratin pearls and the connective tissue shows inflammatory cells. Poorly differentiated type, here the epithelium is highly dysplastic and shows the invasion into the connective tissue. There will be no lymphocytic infiltration and also no keratin pearls are seen, only minimal keratin formation is present. So these are the three types, all the pic put together, the histopathological slides. Well differentiated to the left, wherein you can see numerous keratin pearl, moderately differentiated and poorly differentiated, where you can see a highly dysplastic epithelial cells or anaplastic cells. Next is verrucous carcinoma. This is both a exophytic and endophytic growth, wherein which clinically you can see a cauliflower-like or a wart-like extension. So here in histopathological, you can see a epithelium showing minimal dysplastic features with a broad retiridges. Elephant foot ridges is a characteristic feature of this carcinoma, and you can see a cleft-like spaces filled with parakeratin and the underlying connective tissue with dense inflammatory reaction. So to the right side corner you can see a wart-like or a exophytic growth, a clinical pic, and below is a once again a histological, wherein which you can see both exophytic as well as endophytic with the dense inflammatory infiltrate in a connective tissue. This basal cell carcinoma. Here you can see a epithelium in which the epithelial cells invading into the connective tissue, forming an islands of epithelial cells resembling basal cells. Here it has got two types of cells, the peripheral cells and the inner cells. The peripheral cells have a palisading arrangement of nuclei, and the inner cells has got epithelial cells resembling basal cells, and below is the underlying or a connective tissue stroma. To the right side you can see a clinical pic which is seen on the skin. To the left is a histopathological feature wherein which you can see a islands of epithelial cells invading into the connective tissue, that is the basal cells. Malignant melanoma. Here once again the epithelial cells are invading into the connective tissue. I am showing only the connective tissue part over here. You can see a malignant melanocytes which are invading into the connective tissue. They can be seen as a loosely arranged sheets and also as a cords of epithelioid and spindle type of melanocytes. You can appreciate melanin pigments which are brown in color. So to the right is a clinical pic which is seen on the skin as well as in the oral cavity, the palatal aspect, and to the left is a histopathological feature wherein which you can see the epithelial cells invading into the connective tissue. So this finishes the connective tissue epithelial tumor. Now starting with the connective tissue tumor, starting with the benign tumor. So they consist of fibroma, ossifying fibroma, which is classified once again into peripheral and central ossifying fibroma, lipoma, hemangioma, two types, capillary and cavernous hemangioma, lymphangioma, neurilemoma or schwannoma, neural origin, neurofibroma to a neural origin. Starting with the fibroma, you can see a overlying epithelium which is atrophic, which is thin and stretched, and below is a connective tissue with a dense bundles of collagen over there, and also you can appreciate fibroblast and the blood vessel. So to the right side corner once again is a clinical pic seen in the buccal mucosa as a sessile or a pedunculated growth, and to the left side corner below you can see a histopathological pic shows a atrophic epithelium and a connective tissue with a dense bundle of collagen fibers with numerous vascular spaces too. Next is ossifying fibroma. It's classified into peripheral and central ossifying fibroma according to the location in the oral cavity. If it is seen in the periphery of the oral cavity or the oral mucosa, example gingiva, call it as peripheral, wherein which you can see a epithelium. In central, you won't see the epithelium because it will be seen in the bone. So now coming to peripheral ossifying fibroma, you can see a overlying epithelium. Below is a cellular connective tissue stroma, that is there is increased cellularity, that is more number of fibroblasts are seen, and also a bony trabeculae. So this is a clinical pic towards the right side corner, and to the left is a histopathological pic wherein which you can see the overlying epithelium, and below is a cellular connective tissue stroma with the bony trabeculae. Central ossifying fibroma, here you won't appreciate an epithelium, only you will be seeing a bony trabecular and the trabeculae and the cellular connective tissue stroma. To the right side is a clinical pic wherein which you can see a large growth over there at the buccal mucosa next to the premolars. Next is lipoma, the connective tissue tumor affecting the adipocytes or the fat cells. Here you can see a matured adipocytes which the eccentrically placed nucleus and a connective tissue septum. To the right side corner is a clinical pic where you can see a enlargement, and to the left side is a histopathological pic wherein which you can see a matured adipocytes with a eccentrically placed nuclei. Next is hemangioma, which is affecting the vascular tissue. So once again classified into capillary and cavernous hemangioma. In capillary hemangioma, you can see numerous proliferating vascular spaces, that is the proliferating endothelial cells, and the overlying epithelium is seen. you can appreciate numerous RBC-filled capillaries. To the right is a clinical pic, and to the left is a histopathological pic with a numerous capillaries containing RBCs. It's a cavernous hemangioma, so called because it has got cavernous or huge spaces wherein which it is filled with the red blood cells. To the right side is a clinical pic. So this is the two types. You can see the difference between both capillary hemangioma as well as cavernous hemangioma, wherein in capillary hemangioma you can see numerous capillaries filled with RBCs. In case of cavernous hemangioma, you can see large dilated thin wall vessel resembling veins. So those are the cavernous spaces filled with RBCs. Next is lymphangioma. It is almost similar to the cavernous hemangioma. Look, that's it. But here the difference is in lymphangioma, you can see lymph vessels which contains lymphocytes and the lymph in the vessels, unlike vascular spaces wherein which you can see RBCs and the other cells over there. Here you can see lymphatic channels lined by endothelial cells, and it is interrupted here, but in case of blood vessel it is continuous, and below is the underlying connective tissue stroma. These are the clinical pics which you can see. The right side on the tongue, and to the left side is the lymph vessels which are seen below the epithelium containing lymphocytes and lymph vessels. So this is a nerve sheath tumor, neurilemoma, also called as schwannoma. It has got characteristic type of arrangement called as Antony type A and Antony type B arrangement. Antony type A, you can see a Verroque bodies. In Antony type B, you can see a irregularly arrangement. So now coming to type A, Antony type A, the Verroque bodies are the acellular eosinophilic structures, which is followed by a nucleus showing a palisading arrangement that is surrounded by it. Then Antony type B with the irregular arrangement of the fibers and the cells. So this is a clinical pic at the right hand corner on the tongue, lateral aspect of the tongue. To the left is a histopathological pic wherein which you can see a Antony type A arrangement. Next is neurofibroma, wherein which it involves the perineural fibroblast. So here the cells are spindle shaped with the wavy nuclei, the serpentine lobe, and also it has got a carrot shredded appearance. You can also appreciate areas of myxoid degeneration and mast cells. So this is a clinical pic to the right hand corner. To the left is a histopathological pic wherein which you can see a cell, spindle shaped cells with a wavy nuclei. Fibrosarcoma. This is a malignant connective tissue tumor. Here you can see a characteristic herringbone pattern of the proliferating fibroblast. That is a arrangement of the proliferating fibroblast, and the cells exhibits hypochromatism and pleomorphism, and also you can appreciate mitotic figures. You can see an example here in this slide, a herringbone pattern, that is fish bone pattern. So it is similarly it looks in the histopathological section of the fibrosarcoma. To the right hand corner is a clinical pic. Next is osteosarcoma, malignant tumor involving the bone. You can see here a dysplastic proliferating osteoblast cells, and it forms a tumor osteoid in a connective tissue stroma. So to the right side is a clinical pic which you can appreciate, and to the left corner is the histopathological pic showing a proliferating dysplastic osteoblast forming a osteoid in a connective tissue stroma. So this finishes about the benign and malignant epithelial and connective tissue tumors. Now tumor-like lesions. There are three types: central giant cell granuloma, peripheral giant cell granuloma, and pyogenic granuloma. Starting with the central giant cell granuloma, I have already told you why it is called central and peripheral in ossifying fibroma. So accordingly, central is seen in the center of the bone and the peripheral is seen at the example in gingiva, wherein which you can see a overlying epithelium. Now starting with the central giant cell granuloma, you can see a adjacent normal tissue, and in the lesional tissue you can see a multiple giant cells. They are a multinucleated cells with a background of spindle cells, and usually you can appreciate the giant cells near the blood vessel. So to the right side is a clinical pic in a oral cavity which you can see, and to the left hand side the upper end is a multiple giant cells you can appreciate with the multinucleated cells, and below is a once again a histopath pic with the numerous giant cells near the blood vessel. Peripheral giant cell granuloma, here you can see a overlying epithelium, and there is a normal band of connective tissue separating the lesion from the epithelium. The lesional tissue shows multiple giant cells which you can appreciate more near the blood vessels. Same thing which is seen. To the right is a clinical pic, and to the left is a histological pic with the numerous giant cells with the above overlying epithelium. Pyogenic granuloma, here you can see a overlying epithelium, and the lesional tissue shows proliferating endothelial cells with the budding capillaries. To the right side corner you can see a ulcerated area of epithelium, that is a discontinuity of the epithelium, and you can also appreciate a dense chronic inflammatory cell infiltration in a connective tissue. This is the right hand corner is a clinical pic of pyogenic granuloma. Below is the histopathological pic, wherein which you can see numerous budding capillaries. That finishes the histopathological slide. Thank you.